you know, all of these things that I was looking at the world like it was just doing so much to me, and I was responding inside of that place. And it got to the point to where I had created so much dense energy that I actually started to feel this darkness. And it felt like I was inside of a pit, and there was just this crushing weight up above me. And I felt these things just like gleefully running around, just like getting bigger up above. And I didn't understand it. And I was just getting like bare impressions and hints on this. And it was that moment right there when I actually realized, like, oh my goodness, I'm just like in this darkness, in this pit that I created. And if I created this, doesn't that mean I have the capacity to uncreate it, or more importantly, turn on the light? And that whole aha moment, that was my literal awakening right there of, hey, you idiot, make light. Stop focusing on all this darkness. And as soon as I had that, wait, I don't have to feel this way, like I can actually choose, you know,
Yeah.
like, that's when everything started spiraling out. And my whole entire life in that space, it blew to pieces. It blew to absolute smithereens, because the vibration that I was starting to embody inside of myself, it couldn't handle that dense, dark nastiness that I was inside of. And it pulled me right out of it. But for the most part, we're handed a crap pile from our parents, from our ancestors, of unprocessed emotion, habits, triggers. And then we end up with all these emotions and feelings inside of ourselves that we have no reference for. We don't recognize it's not ours. And we just, you know, kind of go off of the rails and start falling into the programs as well. And like, once you start figuring out how to go in on these language levels to where you can speak to the body, and instead of having to ask or wish or hope, you turn on the awareness, and then you say, hey, there's tension right here. I can feel that. This is what I want you to feel like. And then you dissolve it and actually create the sensation of relaxation. It opens up the doorway to start recognizing that you can communicate inside of your body by telling it what to do. And it's just that you have to learn to speak the language that the body understands, and then you can translate it outside, because it's the exact same language the entire universe speaks. Not words, it's light, it's sensation, it's impulse, it's emotion, it's frequency.
Yeah.
Really, I got overwhelmed. Like, I had such a warfare type of a mentality going on that I was bringing in nothing but warfare, and I was getting attacked all the time. And I was still able to share information. I was still able to help people out. But this really got to the point to where it just overwhelmed me, and I had to fully let go and fully surrender. And as I did that, it was crazy. It's like I got knocked out of the way, and these things voraciously ran past me and ignored me to go to the darkness and the trauma, because they were starving. And that's when I really started to connect into the whole entire system and recognize that these guys have absolute pain. They have nothing but fear. They have nothing but desperation, because if humanity got together for one day and put all of our crap down and just loved each other and laughed and had a good time, their entire system would disappear. And that's what they're fighting against. And it wasn't until I started to recognize that, and I started to really tap into compassion and empathy for that type of a situation, and I tried to see myself inside of it. You know, what emotions would I want to feel if I were so far gone in that level that, you know, I was this darkness and this destruction that was causing nothing more than atrocity for the sake of atrocity, you know, and feeling joy, feeling love, feeling compassion. It came up immediately. And so I started really working on that level. And I have very firm boundaries, but I have a smile on my face. I have love and compassion in my heart. And it's thousands of times stronger than it ever could have been without it. I truly believe right now we are in the phase of the wounded healers. We need understanding of the darkness to show other people how to get back. But what I'm trying to build is a world where we don't need wounded healers, to where I can hand my kids, when I'm gone and I'm no longer here, I can hand them something that I'm proud of, you know, where all these children are being taught this, where this understanding is just spreading like a virus of light throughout the collective consciousness of humanity. And that's why I'm here. You know, it's not about me. It's about making sure that my children have a better way to go than I did, and that their children have an even better way to go than they did. And we can set up those seeds right now to shelter the future. And we got to stop taking. We've got to start giving. That's where it really needs to start going to. The whole outside light forces that we look at and we're like, oh, they're so beautiful, they're so amazing. They've got nothing on what we're doing right here. Like they did not come in here to incarnate into this darkness, to become a part of it, to recognize how much they don't like it, and then start changing it, you know?
Well, those parts of this planet, you can't even breathe the air without wearing a mask.
Yeah.
You can't walk around. I mean, that alone tells you right there how difficult it is.
Yeah. And the other thing is too that all these things really don't have physical bodies. They're mind and spirit, and yet why is there so much attention here? There's so much rhetoric, there's so much propaganda saying this is 3D, this is the lowest. Tell you what, this is where true creation actually happens. This is where the masters come to play. Only the best of the best can actually come into a system like this and actually hold on to that light and start to share it, to start to spread it, and not let that darkness take over. And
Yeah.
there's so many of us now, so many of us. You can't stop this. Like, this planet is shifting, it is changing. And as we
Man,
go in and we clean out our own individual crap, we clean out our own DNA, our ancestral crap, our past life crap, the weight lifts. Because inside of time and space, if there's no past or no future, it's only now. Even if something happened 15, 20,000 years ago, if that trauma hasn't been processed, if it hasn't been transmuted, it's still a density that's dragging the earth down into quarantine, down into density. And as we clean out ourselves, the planet lifts in vibration. As above, so below. All we have to do is make it bright in here, and then that bright from the outside can reach us. If
you
humanity truly understood the potential that is buried inside of our DNA, we would never ever look at us like stupid humans again. And that's one of the things that's happening right now. Like, we had the first waivers, like 6, 7,000 years ago, who came into extreme
Oh yeah.
density, trying to open up some form of light. And then we've got these prophets, these leaders of quote religious documentation and understanding that it was literally nothing more than people tapping into light and trying to share the basic tenets of how to create more light. And they created these spaces, these time capsules, that it's like, first we started off with this cliff, and there were no handholds, there were no ways to even get like a toe hold in on and try to climb this. And these people came through and like head first kamikazed themselves until they broke like a crack in it. And then somebody came through and they got into that crack and they started hollowing it out even bigger. And it's gotten to the point to where all of a sudden, 2 people could hang out there, then 3 people, then 6, and then 15. And now we've got so many people who are able to access this energy, this flow. And it's all about who came before us, who stepped up and said, you know what? I refuse to fall into the program of hatred. I will love, and there's no way you can turn off my light. And what they've done is they've carved out the steps for us. And right now we're actively able to start running through them, and we're making something even greater. It's like this cliff is now starting to turn into a temple, and those who come after us are going to be able to refine it and turn it into something beautiful. But this information, like, anybody can tap into it. And if you just start opening up these doorways a little bit, and you start feeling what feels like truth and start feeling what feels like falsehood, you can literally walk your way through anything and learn it all. Like, it's not my information, it's not your information, it's all of our information. That's energetically what we're learning how to do. It's creating our own space of safety, our own space of shelter, and our own space of healing, and just staying inside of it and looking out from this space and be like, yeah, you can come in here, but you have to be as bright as all of this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Exactly.
that's actually kind of funny, because you'll start running into entities that they desperately want the light. They're so sick and tired of it, and they're just done. And they'll come in and they'll just grab a hold of you and be like, hey, hey. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, do the thing. It's like, here's the light. It's like, oh, there you go. And there's trillions of them here. And for each one that we allow to integrate back into the light, what we're doing is not only opening up a pocket of information that's separated from source, it's like we're debriefing the entire light systems on how to go in and start cleaning these systems out, because like, it's invisible to each other. Like, the dark can't see the light can't see the dark. They have to have an intermediary, and that's why we're in this duality right now. So one of the things that I feel happening underneath the surface right now is the actual black magician cults that are hijacking the collective consciousness of humanity, that are working with the negative alien agenda. These guys have vast ley line flow systems, I guess you could say, that they parallel and replicate what the earth naturally is supposed to be using, but they use their satanic ritual abuse, they use their false flag attacks, all these loosh harvesting operations to build up storage holds of this energy that then they can tap into and sway the collective consciousness. And there has been a major purging and transmutation of that system. And it's still active in pockets, but it doesn't have a worldwide connection anymore. And these guys immediately freaked out, and they needed a smoke screen to where they could start working on something in the background and start trying to make these connections in. And instead of trying to hammer people with, all the loosh harvesting operations, like the abortion stuff that's been going on, with the women's rights, with the racism, with all these different things that they keep on hitting us with, one after another, after another, after another. They had to give us a break because they needed a break too. Their system couldn't handle the influx and the flow, and I don't think it's ever going to get better again. Like, there's huge blocks and holes inside of their system that are they're unchasmable with darkness. There's so much light inside of there that the amount of energy to break through that again, it's going to take up all of what they've got left. And there's an extreme breakdown on multiple levels right now. It's not just with the UFOs. We've got things coming out about Monsanto with the glyphosate. How that's actually gluten intolerance. People aren't gluten intolerant. It's the glyphosate. It's the pesticides.
Exactly.
We've got all kinds of things coming out right now. We've got doctors who are talking about the vaccine industry. We've got the vaccine industry officials that are actually paying out massive amounts of money in vaccine injury courts right now. There's so many things that are breaking down. The international banking cartels. France has been going crazy for a while now because of the outrageous and insane draconian laws that they're trying to pass over there, with tax regulations, with tariff trades, and it's literally turning people into
the yellow vest. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's all these things that are happening right now, and it's literally this web of constriction that's trying to pull everything into the center to keep it all stuck inside of this place of density. And we've just got all these explosions that are opening up light inside of the system right now. And the problem with the waves of energy that were coming from the sun, they've been the same intensity for the past 4,000 or 5,000 years. They just didn't have light to anchor into on the planet. And now that there's more light, it's anchoring in more, it's shining brighter. And it's almost like if you take a light bulb close to like the Wardenclyffe Tower or a Tesla tower, how you get that transmission of energy. That's what's coming through right now. We can start turning on the light on the inside. It makes even brighter spaces. More people can find it. More people can turn on. And then these spontaneous activations blow more holes inside of the system. True full disclosure will not happen unless we actively see people talking about the invisible aspect of control inside of humanity. We can have all the free energy devices, all the med beds, everything in the world that we want, but until they start giving people solutions to the invisible control systems that are causing people to think it's okay to actively hurt other people, then we are not going to actually see full disclosure. And the full disclosure, it comes from within, because what we're doing right now, as we see these things breaking open, we have to force the issue. Well, if you've been hiding this for 70 years, what have you reverse engineered from it? What are you doing? We've got to start pushing in on those levels. Well, what about the physicality? What about this right here? How come we're putting the same chemicals that, were inside of mustard gas inside of our bodies when we have cancerous poison? Like all of these different things, we have to start pushing, because right now it's getting to the place to where physical action is not enough. We have to come from a very strong energetic space and then put physical action into it. And we have to know where we're going. We have to take our intent with us, because just like inside of the body, if you have something extremely blocked up, trying to push against it and fight against it's only going to make it stronger. You have to find out where it's clean, where it's open, and then focus there. Bring the energy there. Build up something so clean and beautiful that you can move it into the darkness and it flips it off like a light switch. And that's what we have to do in this disclosure. It's not just something that's happening to us. This event, this solar flash, it's already happened. It's just that humankind has not reached the vibration enough to actually anchor into it. It's already here. And when we start operating from that space, and really, instead of just railing against the powers that shouldn't be, but actively working to do something better in our lives, in our environment, in our neighborhood, to build something that other people can feel and they recognize, I like that feeling, and then they make more of it too. Then all of a sudden, instead of you just by yourself, you've got a team. And when you've got a team, you've got your squad going. It's like, well, what do we do now? It's not like, well, what can we do? It's like, well, what can we do? Let's go do something. And you get excited. You have fun with it, and then you change the world. Like, just simply doing something, not even knowing what you can do, but trying to do something, saying yes and moving forward. Like it's like you're stepping into the mist and then the stepping stones appear as your weight shifts to step down onto it. And that's the way these things work. So what you guys are doing, it's very powerful. Thank you so much for inviting me to share it with you. And you know, I'm completely and totally rooting for you. I've got utmost confidence that anybody can make a very, very powerful impact in reality. And the more that we push for it and stop trying to compete with each other and then start building each other up, the faster we make this happen.